All right. So the name of the show is The Solution Point. So now you're on the hot seat. Why don't you share a problem that you have found a solution to that you want to share with our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, I think I'd like to talk about trademarks. I mean, if you have a brand or a logo and you want people to think of, actually, you don't even have to think of a specific company, because a trademark is a brand identifier, a identifier of the origin of the services. So even if it's, I mean, say it was a letter A with a red background, even if they don't know which company makes it, if they associate that mark, that logo, with a product or a service they've purchased in the past, then when they see it on a new service or a new product, they'll say, oh, I like that company before. So even if they don't know the name, it's still a brand or a source indicator. It still shows that it came from somebody that they're associated with.
Now, are there some limits on what can be trademarked?
Yeah, there are. I mean, if I had an automobile repair business, I can't call it auto repairs, because
Right.
that would basically prevent anybody else from describing their auto repair business as auto repairs. So if it's merely descriptive or generic term, they're not going to let you trademark it. Generally, they're not going to let you trademark it.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the important things, because a lot of times from a marketing standpoint, you want the name of your company or your brand to tell what you do. And so it's good to know, well, if you can't call your auto shop auto repair.
Right.
Um, but what are some of the other limiting factors? What about geography? Like, could you use the name of a state or a city or something like that as part of your trademark?
Well, there is also a geographic descriptive rejection. So
Okay.
if somebody, like if you're in New Haven, Connecticut, and you called it New Haven Bakery, there's a good chance you're going to get that rejected also, because it's merely a geographical name.
Okay.
So the biggest one that you run into, or the hardest one to overcome, let me put it that way, is a likelihood of confusion rejection. So if there's one out there that the trademark office believes that it's going to be confusingly similar to the one that you're trying to apply for. So if there's a registered trademark and you've applied for a trademark that the trademark office thinks is confusingly similar, then they're going to reject you. And like I said, that's the hardest one to overcome. There's 13 factors that you have to consider, and you have to look at all the 13 factors, figure out what differences are, and then make an argument to the trademark office that, there's no likelihood of confusion, or the likelihood of confusion is minimal because of these 13 factors.
Right. So I can't come up with the logo that's Coca-Coolers in red and white. No.
Yeah, probably not. They're not
With
going
a
to let that one fly.
wave look like that.
Yeah, with a wave on it. And then also there's special considerations for marks that are considered famous. So if it has worldwide recognition and most people are going to understand it, they're going to have more leeway to reject your application if it's close to that.
Okay.
So while
Now,
most trademarks associated with a specific service or a specific goods, if it's a famous mark, then they're going to get more leeway.
now, your clients that come to you, do you typically find that they've already come to you, have done research and they've, done, maybe they've even know what these 13, types of factors are, or do they come to you and just kind of without any knowledge? What typically do you find from your clients?
It runs the whole gamut, honestly. I mean, sometimes I get people that call me up and they have an idea that they want to register auto repairs. And I explain to them that chances are you're not going to get it. Maybe if you call it Steve's Auto Repairs, you'd have a better chance, but they probably make you disclaim auto repairs. So, sometimes while I'm on the phone with somebody, I'll do some high level searches to see if there's anything out there that's going to be a likelihood of confusion, rejection right off the bat. And then I have other people that have already applied for their trademarks, and they might have already gotten through one or two responses to office action successfully, and then they hit a roadblock on something else. And
Now,
then I have
speaking
companies that also come to me that, they need help with their trademarks.
Right. Speaking of high level checks, What would be, and of course you have the more specific, checks, and you're able to have that access, but for that person who's just trying to do some high level research, what would you recommend that they, start out with, on a more, basic level?
Yeah, if they go to the United States Patent and Trademark Office's website, which is uspto.gov, there's two sections of that. There's a patent section of that and a trademark section of that.
Okay.
If they select trademarks, and I think it's basic search or something along the lines like basic search, they can actually put in the name that they're thinking about wanting to trademark and see what else is out there. If they're more sophisticated, they can also put in the class that they're interested in. So if they're interested in having the trademark for shirts and pants, then they would put in class 25 and do a search in class 25 for whatever the mark is they want. See if anybody else has it for clothing, for example.
Okay, great. Very good. Okay, cool.
So trademark has kind of two components, I think. And you correct me if I'm wrong, because I know this is your area, and I refer everybody to you because I know what I don't know.
I appreciate it.
So we've got the name, the words, and then you also have whatever the design, the logo, and whatever that symbol is. Those are two separate trademarks, correct? Or is it the same thing?
They could be separate, they could be together. So if I have a logo and I have War IP law next to it, I have my choice. I can either try to register the entire thing, the logo and War IP law PLLC next to it, or I could register the logo separately from War IP law PLLC. And that way, if I'm going to use War IP law PLLC by itself, that's trademark and people can't start copying it. If I'm going to have, I don't know, I write a legal paper or something and I just want my logo on the top, then that would be protected. I actually have, it's either 7 or 8 trademarks for my firm right now for different logos that I want to use, or different sayings that I want to use, or different slogans, for lack of a better term, that I want to use with my firm.